Episode 32, The Line Between Truth and Lies. Ryan's heart nearly stopped. A truth-telling bird or a swindler is nothing short of a death sentence. His mind raced frantically. How could he escape this? Overpowering them was impossible. There was no escape route. Only one thing remained, his tongue. But how could he deceive magic itself? Calm down, Ryan. Everything has a loophole. The bird reacts to lies. Then, I just have to say things that aren't lies. Or truths that are misleading enough to deceive. Lord Valerius approached Ryan with a satisfied smile. Now, Your Highness, I will ask you again. Is your name Kairos? And are you truly the heir of the Sundara Kingdom? The bird in the cage stared at Ryan with its bright, beady eyes. Everyone's gaze was fixed on Ryan's lips and the bird's feathers. Ryan fell silent for a moment, then slowly opened his mouth. His voice was strangely calm. What my name is not important. The bird showed no reaction. It wasn't a lie. To Rian, a name was merely a tool to be changed as needed. Valerius frowned. Answer the question directly. Are you the heir of the Sundara Kingdom? I am. The one who carries the last blood of a forgotten kingdom. The bird remained quiet. This too was a clever truth. Ryan was an orphan. No one knew who his parents were, or from what kingdom's bloodline he came. This meant the possibility of him being the heir of a forgotten kingdom was non-zero. He hadn't told a lie. He had told an unprovable truth. And I have come here to reclaim my ancestors' legacy. The bird's feathers quivered slightly, but they did not bristle and red. This statement was a mix of half-truth and half-lie. His real goal was to destroy the Shadow Cult, but he also clearly intended to reclaim a legacy, money in the process. The bird seemed confused by this ambiguous line. Valerius and Kalen were baffled. They had expected Ryan to panic and spin lies, causing the bird's feathers to turn bright red. But Ryan, with perfect composure, was walking the razor's edge between truth and lies. Ryan decided it was time to go on the offensive. He looked at Valerius straight in the eye and said, Lord Valerius, aren't you the one hiding your true identity? You pretend to be a respected noble of Ethereum, but isn't your true face that of a bishop of the Shadow Cult, presiding over wicked rituals in the darkness? In that instant, the bird in the cage went wild, its red feathers bristling frantically. But it was reacting not to Ryan, but to Valerius. It had just proven that Ryan's words were the truth. You bastard. Valerius's face contorted with rage. Ryan had turned the tables on him. Kalen was also stunned, not knowing what to do. At that exact moment, the library window shattered and black smoke began to pour in. It was Seraphina's signal. Now! Rian kicked the table, knocking it into Valerius, and simultaneously ignited a small smoke bomb he had prepared. The library instantly filled with thick smoke. Ryan used the confusion to dive through the broken window. It was a 3-story drop, but a thick tarp prepared by Seraphina was spread out below. Ryan landed safely. This way. Seraphina led him away, disappearing into the darkness of the manor. Behind them, Valerius's furious roar echoed in the night. Ryan had once again won a life-or-death gamble. He had not only protected his identity, but had also managed to confirm Valerius's identity within the cult. However, in doing so, he had earned the full-fledged animosity of the most dangerous man in Ethereum. The fight between him and the Shadow Cult would now escalate from a dense covert war to an all-out battle for survival. Episode 33, the Night Visitors Guild. After escaping Lord Valerius's manor, Rian and Seraphina hid in a safe house within the Shadow Market. At the height of his fury, Valerius mobilized all his forces, beginning to scour the entire city. The Shadow Market, in particular, was filled with the thugs of the Night Visitors Guild and traders from the city guard, and a suffocating tension hung in the air. "We've been thoroughly marked now," Seraphina said, keeping a wary eye on the window. "I suppose the Prince Kairos act is over." "It's fine. That mask has already served its purpose," Ryan replied nonchalantly. He had gained a great deal from this commotion. He had confirmed Valerius's identity and learned that the Shadow Cult was searching for a relic called the Eye of the Void. And above all, he had deeply unsettled Valerius. "So what's the plan?" "The entire city is looking for us. We won't let the enemy find us. We'll go to them." Ryan's eyes gleamed. "You said one of Valerius's most powerful weapons is the Night Visitors Guild. In that case, we just need to take that weapon away from him. You want to take on the Night Visitors Guild? They're the kings of the Shadow Market. They command hundreds of thugs and assassins. What can the two of us possibly do? We don't need to fight them with strength." Ryan grinned. "Every organization has its cracks, especially one held together by money and betrayal." Ryan began to gather intelligence on the Night Visitors Guild, using Seraphina's network. The guild master was a brutal giant known as a Razorfang, but the de facto second in command was a cunning old man called the Ledger. If Razorfang symbolized strength, the Ledger was responsible for the money and logistics. And recently, the relationship between the two had soured. Since Valerius began sponsoring the guild, all the profits and power had been funneled to Razorfang, leaving the Ledger marginalized. Rian decided to exploit this rift. He bribed a few low-level guild members and began to spread false rumors within the guild. "I heard Lord Valerius promised a massive treasure only to Razorfang. They say the Ledger is fed up with Valerius's control and is looking for a new patron. Razorfang is planning to purge the Ledger and take full control of the guild." The rumors spread like wildfire, sowing distrust and suspicion among the guild members. Razorfang and the Ledger began to suspect each other, and the atmosphere within the guild turned hostile. Ryan prepared to deliver the finishing blow. He used a portion of the vast funds he had earned as Prince Kairos to buy off smaller rival gangs. He then incited them to attack the Night Visitors Guild's territory. A bloody wind began to blow through the Shadow Market. Between the external attacks and the internal distrust, the Night Visitors Guild began to shake to its core. Razorfang was preoccupied with fending off their enemies, while the Ledger publicly blamed the chaos on Razorfang's incompetence. Finally, Ryan went to the Ledger himself. He infiltrated the secret safe house where the guild's accounts were kept. There, the Ledger was anxiously guarding his safe, trembling. Who's there?" the Ledger shouted as Ryan emerged from the shadows. "I am a man bringing you a new opportunity," Ryan said with a smile. "Razorfang's time is over. Isn't it time for you to become the new master of this guild?" Ryan made the Ledger an offer he couldn't refuse. He would use his funds and intelligence network to help the Ledger oust Razorfang and become the new guild master. In return, the guild would sever its ties with Valerius and side with Ryan. The Ledger was a cunning old man. He was suspicious of Ryan's true motives, but his greed for the power and stronger. In the end, he took Ryan's hand. Valerius would never have dreamed that the weapon he trusted most would soon be a blade pointed at his own throat. In just a few days, Ryan had completely flipped the balance of power in the shadow.